This is a production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple, to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show, today we're featuring a great a lady who's a coach, has been a lawyer, so she might be able to do some. Anyway, she's been a lawyer. She's a mother of 5. She does all kinds of great things. But before we go there, I have to talk to Benny real quick because, as hopefully everybody knows by now, the show is moving from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday afternoon because
I don't Kevin. You're leaving me.
I'm leaving poor Benny behind, but I just wanted to say that Benny, you have always been for the last, what has it been, 19 years?
Well, yeah, it's still going to continue, just not during my time slot as producing here at the mighty 1150. So it's all good. You'll still be a part of our family. I just won't get to see you on the daily morning routine.
Exactly, but I just wanted to share with everybody that you are, well, here, let me do this.
Aw. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here.
Benny is an amazing producer and does a fabulous job for all the shows that he works. And I just wanted to say thank you. You've added a lot to our show, and it's just because I have trouble getting up in the morning. That's the problem. So, you know, it works out really well.
It's my pleasure. I did offer in the beginning like a wake-up call, but you're like, no, I could do it myself. It's all good.
Well, it's not a matter of just getting up. It's a matter of actually being, like, coherent at this time of day.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
I'm a bit of a night owl, so
yeah.
You know, I stay up till, late. So
yeah, anyway. I'm not, and I have to because I've been doing this for 20 years. So I know 3:30 is very early for most folk, but that is my routine and that's what I've been doing. So I like it, but I go to bed early too. So it's all good too.
3:30 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Imagine. That's just something. In any event, Kerry Fisher is our guest today, and she is a remarkable lady. She's been on the podcast before. You can go to Positive Talk Radio. See, that's why I can't do mornings. PositiveTalkRadio.net.
You sure you still don't need me anymore? Sure you don't need me anymore? I think we'll work on that.
I do. But on the flip side, I get to have Eric back. And
this is true.
And I worked with him for almost a year. So it was, but I love all you guys. And I just got to tell you that the three of you, all three of you, Nathan, Eric, and you, do a remarkable job.
Thank you.
And make us amateurs sound actually reasonably professional.
Well, we appreciate that, and we're here for you.
I appreciate you guys. So I want to thank you for that.
All right.
So, Kerry, it's so nice to see you today. How are you? Where are you?
I am in New York. It's great to see you too, Kevin. I cannot believe that he wakes up and goes to work at 3:30 every morning. That is crazy.
That's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that he doesn't miss. Because see, I would miss it by like 4 hours if I was to sleep over, sleep late.
In my defense, I have missed a couple shows in the 20 years. I might have.
You have?
Of course. I mean, no one's perfect. I mean, I might have been able to, well, I'm not going to get into the logistics, or there might have been a crazy night before, and I was like, slept through an alarm or two. It happens.
Well, and that's the problem when you get up at 3:30 in the morning, and on Sunday night, if you did go out with friends or go to a party or something, and then you're supposed to leave at like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and that's just when the party's getting started. So
generally, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Kevin, I don't know what parties you're going to on Sunday night that are
right?
going till all hours.
Well played.
That is not typical.
Well, I'm actually reminding myself of my youth because I haven't been doing that in years. So
remind me not to invite Kevin over on a Sunday night.
Exactly. It's party time. Let's play. And by the way, Kerry, I just want you to know that I get a lot of comments from people that listen to the show here on KKNW and the podcast that I have some of the most incredible guests and some people that are very, very interesting to talk to. And you are one of those. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that this is going to be an excellent show and you do an excellent job of what you do. And so what I'd like you to do is to tell my audience and our friends out there what it is exactly that you do.
What I do?
Yeah, what do you do? Anyway.
Well, what I mainly do now is this past year I've taken the year to just write because I always had wanted to be a published author. So I dedicated the year to writing, and I already published my first book. My second book will be published soon. So before that, though, before I dedicated this full year to the writing, I've been a coach. And I really consider myself mostly a wellness educator. So I love to learn. I love to study about all of these different mindfulness techniques. I like to subtract out the lingo, make it simple, and teach people how to bring some of these different practices into their life that might seem a little unusual. Sometimes people will be scared if they hear about breath work or meditation. But I like to take away all of the mystery and just show you how these tools are actually really helpful, even in modern times, to keep you calm and stress-free. So I basically teach you how to become the best version of yourself so you could live the most extraordinary life that you can dream of.
And a lot of us have that in mind, that we would like to be able to do that. We just have got no idea how. I'll give you an example. Before I started getting into some alternative spirituality and stuff, I was a strict Lutheran, and meditation was considered bad.
Yeah.
And even evil, and and I don't understand. I guess it's because they don't understand what it actually is, but I didn't understand when I started getting into it why it had such a negative connotation for some people.
People get very nervous. Right before the pandemic, I was working at an elite high school. I was training the athletes in peak performance and mindset. So I work with some of the teams. And what's really interesting is because it's a Catholic school, this high school, they were very worried about meditation. So what I did was I taught them meditation, but I didn't call it meditation. I just called it stress relieving techniques, because people get hung up on the buzzwords, mindfulness and meditation, pranayama, which is really breath work, and all these different words that they hear. And I think it turns people off because they're like, what is that? And the reason people get especially worried, I think, about meditation is that for whatever the reason, they equate that with religion, but it has nothing to do with religion. Meditation is really just sitting and paying attention to what you're thinking about. So there's really nothing spiritual about it.
I've talked to a lot of guys, including people like John Edward, and he'll say that, who's the psychic medium, and he'll say that because before he goes to work, he will do meditation and prayer. Mm-hmm. And so in many cases, you can take the one word meditation and substitute it with prayer and accomplish the same things, can't you?
Of course. And what I really think is there's so many different kinds of meditation also. So the one problem is people equate it with religion, which it's not. All meditation is sitting quietly and either paying attention to your thoughts or attempting to clear your mind. But that's what the other problem is. People get a little bit confused because they think the only way they can meditate is sit there with their, fingers in a circle, on the ground with their legs crossed like Buddha. And that's really not the only way to meditate. Another way to meditate is sitting on a chair, listening to a guided meditation by somebody. So for me, I enjoy the guided meditations because I want to use my meditation to make my life better. I'm not doing meditation to get good at meditation. I'm using meditation to get better at life.
I actually have a guided meditation that we've had up for almost 20 years now, and it's really, really good. So I encourage you to go to positivetalkradio.net and search for guided meditation. And
you have one, Kevin? Did you make it?
I had a friend of mine do it, and he did it a long, long time ago, but it's about grounding, and it's about grounding to Mother Earth and also connecting to our higher self. and being cognizant of those things. And so it really is a really cool thing. And it's been downloaded, I don't know, thousands of times.
Wow, that's so cool. I'll make you another meditation, maybe like a gratitude meditation. I love meditation because once you start really diving into these guided meditations, there's so many apps, first of all, that you can get. You could even go on YouTube. There's so much free material, free content, or you could take a course, you could buy a book. There's so many different options. But what I really love is that you could have so many different choices. So say you join one of these meditation apps, you could do a meditation on gratitude. You could do like, say you're going through a difficult time in life, you could do a meditation on sadness. You could do a meditation on compassion. Say you're angry with someone, you could do a meditation on forgiveness. So beginning to use meditation and all of these different wellness practices to make your life better, I think is just such a powerful way to go about using these tools. And you know what I always say too, like, I don't even care if it like technically works or not. If I'm doing something and I'm seeing progress in my life, that's all the proof I personally need.
Exactly. And you can even meditate about grief, because we all have got a lot of grief surrounding us. And you can meditate about that and feel a little bit better about your situation and what's happening in your life.
Yeah. And you know what's really interesting? So I know one of the things that I noticed, so I was an attorney and then I eventually started teaching yoga, and that morphed into coaching and teaching peak performance and mindset. And what I noticed is in the wellness world, one, they have all the buzzwords, and I think that really scares people off. It's like just it's really marketing terms, I really would like to say. They're just like buzzwords to get people interested in whatever product the person is selling. But what I also noticed is that people would want you to do a lot of hours of mindfulness every day, like wake up and meditate for 45 minutes and then do breath work for 15 minutes. And now I'm going to first do yoga, and then I'm going to exercise. I'm going to drink my green smoothie. Now I have to drink my 8 glasses of water. And, before you know it, my whole day has gone by being so mindful, and I can't even function. So I wanted to take all the tools and make them simple, because I really do believe, maybe you agree, Kevin, that you can change your life in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Especially if you do that 5 minutes today, and then again tomorrow, and then again the next day, and you just keep doing that. I'm not saying overnight things change, but slowly over time, you will find change when you make it easy on yourself and when you build in success. So if I make a goal, okay, 5 minutes a day, I'm going to meditate, and I hit that goal, I feel good about myself. And guess what? I'm going to meditate more. So I like to build in the success and make it simple.
I love the fact that you worked with athletes, especially high school athletes, because they're trying to get to be the best that they can be. And when I was in athletics, it goes back into the 70s. They didn't talk about anything like that.
Right.
But now they're finding out that it does improve performance. It allows you to remain calm when you're in a stressful situation, especially on the athletic field. And you can also visualize success that you are going to create, and it makes it a lot better. Has that been your experience? Have you been able to help young athletes do better at their craft because of the meditation and mindfulness and visualization?
Absolutely. And I don't even call it any of those things. I just tell them, oh, we're going to do this activity now, or we're going to try this technique. So for the athletes, originally when I first started working with athletes, the way I got into, it's hard to get into the schools.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it as meditation because no one wants that. They were very stressed about that idea, or anything to do with yoga. So I said, oh, let me come in and do like, it's sort of like yoga, but it's more like stretching, because since they do a lot of physical activity, they do a lot of weight training. I said, oh, it's really important for them to stretch and have that part of themselves flex, the flexibility as well. And what was interesting is at the beginning and end of every class, I would teach, and this would be like 100 boys, Kevin, like the football team I would have in there, just me trying to deal with, the 100 football players and, keep them all in line. But at the beginning and end, I would always speak to them. And at the end, I would always run them through a visualization of their next game. Okay, is it on your field? Imagine the field. Imagine lacing up your shoes. I would have them go through the whole entire game and make it a perfect game. And the kids started asking me, you're talking about like 17, 18-year-old, these like big, huge, athletic guys. Like, Kerry, can you do more of that, that stuff you do at the end? So I was like, oh, what do you mean? And they're like, that talking stuff you do. Because they were loving not just the visualizations, but a lot of the stuff, what I would do with them was stress relieving techniques. So like, for things they could do before they take a test, how they could just close their eyes and breathe, concentrate on their breathing. So I was actually amazed that such young children themselves understood the power of the visualizations, because they would come back after the game and be like, oh, it was like I had already been there. Because they had visualized the game before the game, and it always improved their performance. But what helped them the most was having the stress reduction techniques for before the game, right? Or like the night before, the morning of, right before going on the field. And for athletes, what's really important is they need to learn how to put behind them any defeat. So if they're out there and they have a bad play, you want to teach them, you need to let that go and keep moving forward. So there's so many ways that mindfulness helps athletes. And actually, athletes have been using all these mindful techniques for many, many years. It just was more in the professional world, and it wasn't really known about as much. All of the athletes who have a professional trainer, they are all doing all these techniques for many years. And a lot of the professional teams are now bringing mindfulness techniques, all of these things to these teams, which is amazing. So it absolutely could help not just athletes, but it could help everybody. It could help any human. It could help a corporate person. It could help an attorney. It could help a business person. It could help a mom. It could help a dad. It could help a supermarket salesperson. It could help anyone, because it's just ways for you to gain control of yourself again, gain control of your mind and keep yourself in a positive headspace.
Well, if you are saying to yourself, oh, I don't know about this, Kerry. I don't know whether that's, next time that you have the opportunity to watch a professional golfer line up and get ready to tee off, you'll see him stand behind the ball, and he'll look out towards the fairway and where he's going. And what he's doing is visualizing the perfect shot. On the perfect swing, where the ball is going to go. They've been doing that for years, and so it's been a very important aspect of what they do. But you also work with physiology and with anatomy and stuff, and athletes get a lot of soft tissue injuries, hamstrings and groins and all that, where the yoga or the stretching can help them stay away from those soft tissue injuries.
Well, it's so interesting, because I feel like athletes need to do yoga or stretching. They need the flexibility because they're already strong. And then people who do a lot of yoga or flexibility work, they actually need to do strength training because they're hyper flexible, which is not good. So you really want a balance of the movement, the exercise, like strength training, and the yoga. And I think it's true not just of your body though, Kevin, right? You want to be flexible, in your mind, and strong in your mind and your spirit in all of the ways, So I think it's really important to remember that we have control over how we feel and how we think in every moment, and we actually are constructing our lives. And that's what this is really all about, and I love what you're saying about the golfers. They're looking for the perfect shot. They already have the muscle memory because they practice so much with their physical body. They're getting the mental memory, so what they did was they taught athletes that if they could just practice their routine or practice the shot over and over and over again, that will actually help them almost as much as practicing in real life. So it's pretty incredible. Who actually practiced this technique was Bruce Jenner, which I was actually very surprised to find out. So I don't know if you remember when he was like a decathlete. Do you remember that, Kevin?
Oh, sure.
When we were young, he was like the most gorgeous, like a muscular, greatest athlete in the world, 10 events. And I heard recently a speech with him, I mean, an interview with him, and he every single night before bed would go through every one of his events. Isn't that crazy? And you know who else did that? Spitz, who was the he
Mark
was
Spitz.
yeah, Mark Spitz, who originally had like the most awards up until Phelps came along. He did the same thing. He would imagine his event. If you watch Michael Phelps before he actually ever would compete, he has his headphones on. He has a specific playlist he listens to. He wakes up the day of his game, and he has a specific routine he does. He does not veer off of it. And he, you know, he visualizes his events, and he has a very specific practice that he does because he has everything lined up, the physical, the mental, the emotional. And that's what we can do too. I could be a mom of 5, which I am, sitting in my kitchen, and instead of losing my temper, I could remember, oh, I could do a breath work right now. I could just quickly breathe and feel a little better. So these things are applicable to every human, you know, and that's why they've been around for so long, you know. And I really wish that people would stop being so fearful of trying them, or think, oh, that's just some, you know, like spiritual woo-woo nonsense, and really try the things, because they're all very practical tools.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I got to ask you, though, at one point, you had gone through law school. You
Yeah.
became a lawyer. You got married. You had 5 kids.
Right.
What motivated you to completely upend your life to do? Because, you know, being a lawyer, at least from the layman's point of view, they do very, very well. What motivated you to change everything about you to doing what you're doing now?
You know why? Because I've always been interested in studying in the wellness world. I've always loved it since I was a teenager. So, my parents divorced when I was very young. So I was always on like a personal transformation path. I was always like seeking the answers, you know, why, all the answers, Kevin, because I really did. I had like a lot of issues from my parents' divorce, even though I was really young when it happened. So I went on this path of searching. I used to study philosophy and sociology and psychology, name it, and I studied it. And then I became an attorney, and I, you know, had kids, and I settled down. I had the traditional life. And I realized that one day I wasn't happy, even though I had every single thing that you could check on your list. I have a nice house, I travel, I have my children, I have a, you know, I'm married, I have everything I need. And I wasn't happy. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Why is that? And the reason was because when I was young, I had decided what I wanted to do, but I never really revisited that. I never said to myself at 40 and at 45 and at 50, Kerry, what do you want to do? You know? So I think I was in my early 40s when I realized, you know, I'm not really that happy. And what I really wanted to do was to help people. Right. So even though I was in law, I never really felt like I was helping people. It's a lot of paperwork. It's not exactly what you think, law, you know, it's a lot of clerical stuff, you know. So anyway, I decided to start teaching yoga, and I just loved it. I felt like I was helping people. I felt good. And eventually I had enough work that I could leave law and go into the yoga. And then that morphed into coaching. But I feel like even now, you know, I decided to take a year off and start writing this year. And there's a lot of questions with that, you know, like I could go back into doing my corporate coaching and working with athletes right now, since everything's opening up right now, right? So right now is a good time for me to go back in and, you know, reestablish myself before everybody else does. It's pretty competitive in that world. But I decided to take a year off and do some writing, because I always ask myself now all the time, daily almost, like, is this what I want to be doing with my life? I want to live my life where I'm always moving forward. I don't want to stagnate, you know. It's actually pretty interesting, Kevin, because you caught me at an interesting, probably shouldn't talk about my mom, but she'll probably never hear this podcast. But my parents are, it's actually funny. After I wrote my first book, my sister was like, you know, you wrote some stuff about our family. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. And I'm like, well, you're not going to like the second book because I wrote even more stuff about the family. And then you're definitely not going to like my magnum opus, because I'm going to talk about everything about the family then. So everybody better prepare themselves. But, you know, my mom and stepdad, they're 80, and my mom is getting a divorce. So it's actually brought up a lot of like emotion for me and upheaval, and I'm needing to use all my tools that I'm always talking about, Kevin. I'm like, actually, like, Actually, these tools don't work. No, they do work. But what I realized though is I guess my mom must have shown me this. If you're not happy, go find another life. Who at 80 years old,
I can't imagine.
my mom is the one who left my dad too. And she moved away. She moved 2 hours away. So at 80 years old, my mom is willing to start a whole new life. Right. And it's
Bless
like,
her soul.
oh, it's like so crazy to me that someone would be that brave and like literally move to a new town. She really doesn't know anyone. She knows a couple of people who live nearby. And I was like, that's pretty bold. So I think that my mom must have taught me how to live full out like this, you know?
I really believe that because honestly, the same darn thing happened to me when I was in my early 40s, which was I was in the corporate world and I had a good paying job and I had the house, I had the picket fence, I had the dogs, I had the kids, I had, the social groups and all that stuff that I was part of. But I woke up one day and it was like, it's not enough. I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything of what I should be doing or could be doing.
Or like, is this all it is? It's almost like, oh, is this
exactly
all it is? Like, is this what I'm going to do now?
Is this all there is? And why can't I find out what it is that I really truly am called to do?
It's almost like the golfer, but I like to look down my life and be like, am I going to get up every day and do this for the rest of my life?
Exactly.
So as much as I was upset with my mom because I feel like abandoned a little bit, even at my age, which is ridiculous. But I was also like, this is a really powerful lesson, that there's never an excuse really for being unhappy in your life but it's a bold move. So like, what happened with you? You decided to walk away from everything?
I quit the corporate world. I decided I was going to do a radio show. And it was at that time, originally it was called Spirit Talk because we wanted to talk about meditation. We wanted to talk about spiritual things. It ended up turning into Positive Talk Radio, which I did for 2 hours a day, 11 months in 2003. And which led me into a whole series of different experiences and life things that happened after that until I was able to come back and do this again, because this is where my heart is. This is where to me, talking to people like you, who you and me can help somebody who's listening in the audience find their path.
Exactly.
And feel good about who they are. Because, quite frankly, I'm 65 now. My brother died at 64. He was my older brother. Now he's my younger brother. And my mother just recently passed at 90.
Wow.
I don't want to be in the position of getting like my dad was, who retired from the corporate job that he had. He had no other interests or likes or didn't feel comfortable. And so he ended up spending the rest of his days either playing golf or sitting on the couch. And I didn't want that to be my epitaph. I wanted something more. I wanted to do something that could.
Wait, so Kevin, after your mom passed away, your dad just did that for how long?
No, my dad died about 14 years ago.
Oh, before your mom.
Before my mom. But the last, 7 or 8 years of his life was just sitting around on the couch because he didn't know what to do with himself.
Wow.
He had a dream when he was a kid, but those dreams, in those days, people felt like they had to go to work, they had to take care of their family, and that's what
you didn't necessarily follow your dreams. You didn't
no.
Didn't say, oh, you could really be an astronaut. They didn't really do that.
I asked him about that because 3 months before he passed away, I did an interview with him.
Oh, wow.
And I asked him specifically, I said, how come you never followed your dream? And he said, well, I'm kind of a one-trick pony. Oh. I can do one thing, but that's really pretty much all I can do. And I said, no, you're so much more than that. And he said, no, I'm really not. Because he had in his mind had decided that he could not do and lead his life the way he wanted to. Yeah. So when he passed away, it was like there was nothing else for him to do here. because he didn't feel it. I want to, when I pass away, I want to do it like my mom did, which was she played bridge on Wednesday night. She went out to dinner on Thursday night. She went home on Friday, passed away, and she was supposed to go to a party on Saturday. And, and so she had a full life from beginning to end, and that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to like talk to you or someone like you, to our audience, and then go home and die.
Nice. I'm going to feel really great about that. Thanks a lot.
It won't be you, I promise. I promise.
Like I killed him. I don't know what happened.
No, I'm feeling great today. But that's what I think, that we are destined to live our lives to be full and complete. And if you can't do it by yourself, you need to go talk to Kerry, because she can help you understand that you can do these things, and step by step of how to get that done. Because that's what you do now.
But you know what? It's what you were saying about your dad is so true about so many people. That like leading lives of quiet desperation, that quote. It's that your dad didn't believe that he could do anything more. And it didn't matter what you said. You couldn't convince him. And even now, like when I'm trying to think about my stepdad, he's been my dad for 50 years. And I'm like, what is he going to do? Because really, my mom is the one that, does my mother does miniatures. So she goes to these shows, and she has like another whole life, pretty much, my mom now. But my dad would kind of tag along with her. So I'm like, oh, I wonder what my dad is going to do now. So I have a feeling he's going to end up doing not even the golfing, Kevin, just like sitting around watching TV. So it actually makes me sad. But I think my dad is like your dad, though. He just decided, like, this is how life is. And it's more of a fixed mindset, I would say. It's the mindset where this is the way life is. I can't really do anything about it. And, it could also sort of be a little bit of a victim mentality sometimes.
Yep.
But the truth is it's really what our mindset is and how we were raised. And especially that generation, like my dad is 80. I'm not going to necessarily be able to teach him. I could try to help him, but what I do think is true, though, is you get to decide. You get to decide if you want to live a life like Kevin decided, where he wants to just live his life every day till the last day. I always joke around, like I want to go to the beach, go on the ocean, read my book, and drop dead. I also want a pile of books there, even though I'm on the beach. I figure it's my last day. I'm going to just like wreck those books. What am I going to tell you? I love books, but on my last day, if I want to be surrounded by them, but be at the beach, I'm going to have to sacrifice a few. But, right now, when I'm going through a little bit of a hard time with my mom, I've learned all this new terminology, Kevin. I learned there's a thing called gray divorce. I learned that's any divorce over 50. So technically, even if I get a divorce now, it would be a gray divorce. But one thing that happens with gray divorce is that the adult children a lot of times do struggle. Because I was like, I think it's so weird that I'm struggling. I teach this stuff. I have 5 kids. One of my kids just got engaged. I have a full life. I shouldn't be so sad, But the reason is because it's everything. It's your everything that you're used to, And I do find it interesting, and it'll be interesting to watch my dad. What will he do? And my mom. But I do think it's, for me at least, more valuable to live like my mom does, where there's always another life to lead at any age. Because what are you going to do? Just sit and watch TV, And right now, when I'm in this more of a low stage where I feel like a little down, I also understand this is what life is like, So I do think one thing that's good about getting older, Kevin, is you realize sometimes you go into a low point, but it goes back up again, So I always think it's good to pay attention to how you're feeling. And then if you're having a problem in your life, notice it, and then do the things you need to do to get yourself through that period of time, But Kevin, what was your dad's dream? I'm just curious.
When he was younger, he was a scratch golfer. So, and that means that
he was a what?
He was what was called a scratch golfer, meaning that he had no handicap. So he was a really, really, really good at doing that. And he really wanted to do that for a living. But then of course, in those days, he married my mom when he was 21.
Yeah.
And she was 19. They had my older sister when he was 23. And so at that point, in his mind, his life was cooked. He couldn't go do anything that he wanted to do because he had the responsibility for the kids. But had he wanted to do something he could have done it. Like, you've got 5 kids, and you're still able to work and negotiate through that.
But he felt like he needed to be secure, to like make sure that the family had a secure. And you know what? This is something that is true, though, because would I suggest to someone, say you have a career that you don't love, would I suggest to them to just like, oh, let me just drop everything and go to this dream that I have? I don't actually suggest that. Some people would suggest that. Some people would say, absolutely, drop everything and put your all into it, because they would feel more like that would push them, to make sure that they can make it work, because they have to support themselves. For me, though, I prefer keeping the job you have and then just developing a little side job. You said you did it at one point, you had like a radio show going, and you can do something on the side. But even someone like your dad or my mom, at any age, you could pick up a hobby that you had. So at least he did go back to the golfing, though, Kevin,
Yeah, no, he did. And
then that's a community too. So he had at least.
Exactly. Oh, it was like it was another job for him, because he would go like 3 or 4 days a week and have coffee and talk to the guys, play around the golf, play gin in the afternoon, and that's how he occupied his time. So which was good for him. But and I just wanted to let you know that before I started doing the radio show full time, I did it 2 nights a week for a couple hours each night. At another radio station, until my employer found out about it, and they said, we're not gonna be able to do that anymore, because you're working here and you can't do that. And then the universe conspired to turn it around so that I could do it all the way that I was supposed to.
Right, exactly.
And so that's, from my standpoint, you ask the universe to help you, or God, or what your angels, whatever it is, and you ask them to help you, and they will. And they honestly will. By the way, we're talking with Kerry Fisher. I have to take a really quick break. I hope you don't mind, but you are just awesome. And if you go to kerryfishercoaching.com, you can find out all about her. You can sign up for her courses and meet with her and stuff like that. So you're listening to Positive Talk Radio right here on KKNW 1150 AM. And we'll be right back after like these 2.5 minutes. It's just 2.5 minutes. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hey there. I'm excited that you're listening right now, and if you like what we're doing here, you're going to love positivetalkradio.net. On positivetalkradio.net, each show, which is recorded live, is packed with positive information, with real people discussing real issues and positive solutions that can work for everyone. I hope that you'll join us on positivetalkradio.net and listen to all 340 plus shows. I think it's worth your time. But then, that's just me. That's positivetalkradio.net, your home for great progressive, positive podcasts.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. Now through New Year's Eve, here's your exclusive bonus for being our appreciated listener. Type in promo code Positive Talk Radio at checkout to receive $20 off your order. Our gift to you for being here with us today. anaturaldesign.com.
These days, it's difficult to be able to do it all, especially as a small business owner. Marketing your business can be really tough, especially developing a presence on social media, creating commercial content, and media production. That's where KMmedia.pro can help. You see, in addition to creating a great podcast called Positive Talk Radio, we also have a radio show, video, audio production, content creation, including commercials, video shorts and trailers, voiceovers, social media development, and so much more. It only makes sense to hire a pro to get your business noticed. That's what we do. Please visit kmmedia.pro for more information and to schedule a consultation to take your business stream to the next level. That's kmmedia.pro. Yes, we can. And welcome back to Positive Talk Radio here on KKNW 1150 AM. We have a great show for you today. I did want to make a mention, though, that I've been doing some research on podcasts and doing them live and video casts and all of that. I found out that less than 10% of podcasts are actually done live like we do it, like we're having a conversation here, and video, like 5% of them are video. So we are in the top few percent because we do everything live, and we have great guests, and you have a wonderful smile, and you'll be able to see that because you can go to YouTube and Positive Talk Radio on YouTube. That's the old one. My Independence Report, Positive Talk Radio on YouTube, and you'll be able to see her smiling face. So please do that. Kerry Fisher is her name. KerryFisherCoaching.com is the place to go to find her. She is extraordinary at doing everything that can help you live your best life. And I like the way that you say that. They'll live the best life that everybody can.
Well, the best life, that your most extraordinary life, the life that you dream of. And one of the main things I teach people is that first they need to really define what an extraordinary quality of life, or what an extraordinary life really is. Because one of the reasons that certain people like you and I got to a certain age and said, wow, is this all there is because we were maybe using other people's definitions of what a great life would be.
Yep.
So society, teachers, parents, Kevin, we think it's our thoughts, but it's really not. It's what we've taken on from, everything around us. So first you define what is a great lifestyle for me. And it's helpful to not look at other people's lives when you do that. Or if you are looking at their lives, just for inspiration, not for to make yourself feel terrible.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because, and you're right. We when we are growing up and we're in our developmental years, we tend to look at the people around us for an example of what an extraordinary life is. But when I was 23, wanted to be an actor, and I wanted to be on, go to Hollywood and to study and to do all of that. But I wasn't able to because I had this person who was, like my fiance, girlfriend sort of thing. And so I couldn't do both. So I had to make a decision. And at that time, the decision was to go ahead and get married, have a couple of kids, and do all that. But it's amazing how it all came together and kind of ended all at the same time, that it was able to work so I could do this now. So, but that's what we do when we're growing up. We you get married, you have the kids, you do all of that, you have a career. It's hard sometimes to follow your heart when you're young because everybody tells you no, you can't do that. How are you going to make any money? Nobody makes money being an author. Nobody, and doing what you're doing is extraordinary, and you're helping people to understand that they can do it too, which is the big thing.
Well, also, there's no set path when you decide to go off and, leave the safety and security of the world. We all know that we want to have a house. We want to be able to support ourselves and our children and, send our kids to college if if they want to go. So there really is always that tension between this safety and security and then following your dreams. But I do think that there's a way to move towards your dreams no matter where you are in your life, So for me, I would start always, for everybody listening, I always want people to leave with like an actual tool that they could use. I would suggest starting with the morning routine. So my first book is called Tools for Extraordinary Living. This is the original cover. I have a new cover that I had designed that will be coming out. It's the first in this book series that I wrote on Tools for Extraordinary Living. So this one's called the Snooze Button Sessions. It's all about a morning routine. The next one is called Routines for Extraordinary Living, where I teach you some other routines throughout the day. And then the last one will be Mindset Mastery, which is more like a peak performance book. But so the morning routine is something I think everyone should start the day with. And it could be as simple as 5 minutes. So you take something you're already doing, Kevin, which is listening to your alarm go off. The alarm goes off, you hit the alarm, and you sit up and you do something good for you. So it could be journaling. It could be thinking of some things that you're grateful for. It could be just noticing how you're feeling today, just until the alarm goes off again and you start your day that way. You can meditate in the morning. So the very first routine or tool that you could use to start changing your life is starting your day in a positive way. And what's great about it is when you start your day like that, first of all, everyone wakes up in the morning, right? So you have
Hopefully,
to,
yes.
hopefully everyone wakes up. If you don't have to obviously worry about this.
Correct.
But usually people use an alarm to wake up. But even if you don't, even if you wake up naturally, you could still do this technique. The minute you wake up, that's the moment that you do the task. I don't even want to call it a task, but that's the moment that you do your technique. So you do your stretching or 5 minutes of exercise, and you would be shocked how good you feel, even if you just do 5 minutes of exercise in the morning, because then you just started your day doing something good for yourself instead of starting your day hitting your snooze button 10 times and then waking up late and rushing around like a lunatic, right? So even if you started doing that tomorrow, you'll start to notice changes, because what happens is you start to feel a little better in one area of your life, and it starts to leach out into the rest of your day, into the rest of your week, month, year. And then that's how you really start to create a really great lifestyle. So Kevin, let me ask you, because you started off saying that you don't like to get up early. So what about you? Do you have a morning routine? And if not, I challenge you to start one tomorrow.
I need to start one tomorrow. You are correct.
Kevin, you could just pick up a book. It doesn't have to be, my technique is good because it's what you like. You could put a 5-minute song on. You could just listen to music 5 minutes when you first wake up. It's just anything that makes you feel good first thing.
I think that's a wonderful idea, because I love music and I love listening to that, and I love reading and stuff. So I will do that. So the next time you come on the show,
I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to forget. I expect you to do it. Whenever I give speeches about it, I tell people I want them to do it for 1 full year and then message me. But I haven't gotten any messages yet.
Well, it takes. I think they call it discipline. And you've got to be a little disciplined in your approach if you want to accomplish anything, if you want to do anything.
That's right. And you have to be easy on yourself. So like during the pandemic, at a certain point, I wasn't doing a morning routine because I didn't even really have to get up ever. Like it didn't even matter what I did. But I started doing it again now. And what happens is you pick up some of these tools, you use them when you need them, and then when you don't need them, you put them back into your tool chest. So maybe there'll be periods of your life that you do, a half an hour morning routine. Maybe there are times that you do a 5-minute one, or maybe there's times that you don't do it, but what I also advocate is, even if you stop doing something, like say you decide you want to journal every day for a year, but then you stop. When you realize you stop, just start again. People get so upset with themselves and like, I failed and I have to be better at this. And it's instead, you could just start it again.
I was talking to a author coach the other day, and she said, and I think this is true for all of us, is like, if you want to be an author, if you want to write something, write $500 or 500 words a day.
That's right.
500 words might take you 15, 20 minutes to do.
Yep.
Do voice to text, do whatever you want to do that, but do it every day. And at the end of 30 days, you're going to have 15,000 words. And that's a 200-page book.
I committed myself the January 1st of last year. I committed I would write one blog every single day on a platform, a community I'm part of. I wrote one blog every single day, and it had to be something I just thought of. It couldn't be something I had like stockpiled in my computer, something that I noticed, an insight that I had that day. So it was actually really cool. So I wrote one every single day. At the end of the year, I had like tens of thousands of pages that I had written. My writing from the beginning till the end of that 1 year, it got so much better just from writing. And I realized, I could really write a book. And that's the reason I was able to write the book, because I decided a writer writes. I did it every single day, at least that one blog I would write. It would take me 5, 10, 15 minutes. And it really is amazing. If you want to write a book, for instance, if you write one chapter a month, you will have a book in 1 year. And a chapter, it could be a page a day that you have to write only. Do you know?
Oh yeah. And so if you have a mind that you want to do that, but you're always saying to yourself, no, I can't sit down and write,
Yeah.
I know a 14-year-old author, she writes 2,000 words an hour.
Wow.
Which I thought was pretty remarkable. She's got like 9 or 10 books out. She's 15 now. And,
wow. Really? That's so cool.
Yeah. Her name is Shanti.
That's so neat.
Hershington, if you'd like to.
I do want to. That's neat. I love that she does that.
Yeah, and she's got an 800-page book, one of them, which is a trilogy, and she's got 2 others following that.
Wow.
She's a great young lady and stuff. But and she'll tell you it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it.
You have to do it, yeah. But that's with everything, though, right?
Yep.
So when I say start meditation, like literally, even if you're listening right now, just stop for a second and pay attention to what you're thinking about. You can meditate for 1 minute right now. Pay attention to your breathing. Do something even right this minute. You can think of 3 things you're grateful for. You know, that's a technique to change your mindset. You know, there's so many ways that you could do it. And the problem is we don't do it.
Right.
You know, how many times do you know that if you just go sit outside for 20 minutes, you're going to feel better, but you just don't do it, you know?
Right. And you can, but you just, for whatever reason. And we have to start thinking in terms of, if we want to live the best life that we can, we have to make, you know, there's some incremental changes we have to make, and we can do it.
Right. Like you don't want to sit on your couch. You want to learn how to become a better and better broadcaster. So each day you're just building your skills, you know?
Exactly. By the way, we are talking with Kerry Fisher, and go to kerryfishercoaching.com. Kerry, we're going to run out of time, sadly, but I want to give you an opportunity to tell our audience anything that you would like them to know. Those that are listening now, and there are, and those that will be listening in the future, because this will be up on positivetalkradio.net forever, and also YouTube. And so tell them anything that you would like them to know.
I would like them to know, for anyone listening, I would like you to know that you can become the very best version of yourself. You can live the life, the extraordinary life that you desire, but it is going to take some radical honesty with yourself to figure out what you really want, some radical authenticity. And then, this is not as popular, you have to roll up your sleeves and get to work. And every day, take a few steps towards that dream that you imagine.
You can't do it just by, I had another John. I'm so lucky. I get to interview all these great people. And he said, you know, you've heard of the law of attraction.
Of course, yeah.
And the law of attraction doesn't work by itself. You can't sit on the couch and you can't say, I've got a vision board, and my vision board says that I want a boat. And so I'm going to put the boat on the vision board, and I'm going to sit on the couch, and suddenly a boat's going to appear in my driveway. Exactly. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It just doesn't work that way. What you must do, if you choose to, if you want to get that boat, you say, I'm going to put the boat on the vision board, and then I'm going to work my ass off to get the boat.
Exactly. Let the boat be a reminder. The picture of the boat is just a reminder of, I need to go do something to get that boat.
Exactly. I'm going to do whatever I must in order to get that boat, and I'm going to work my little...
I have to change that boat from a picture into a real item. I'm going to need to make some steps.
Exactly.
Some steps.
You can't, nothing, if there's that old expression, nothing in life is free.
Exactly.
And you've got to earn your little bits and stuff, but you can, and the universe, trust me, I know for a fact the universe will support you. If you put it out there and then you're willing to work at it, the universe, regardless of what it is, will support you in your passion, because that's why you came here. That's
right. You just can't give up.
Giving up is not in the cards. And you're from New York, and New Yorkers never give up.
We don't give up. We just keep going. Thank you so much, Kevin. It was so nice talking with you. You're a great guy. I really enjoy you.
Well, thank you. I enjoy you too. And you've got a beautiful smile, and you've got a great presence, and your energy is terrific. And I implore people to work with you because I think although I know you're writing right now, but when you go back
right now you can buy my books. They're on Amazon. The first one is called Tools for Extraordinary Living, the snooze button sessions, and the next one will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, called Routines for Extraordinary Living. You can just look up my name, or look me up on Instagram. I am Kerry Fisher. You can find me there.
I am Kerry Fisher.
I am.
and by the way, you know, we're doing lots of shorts now, and putting them on Instagram and stuff. So don't be surprised if we send you a message saying that we've created a short for you, and it's on Positive Talk Radio.
I would love to. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll work together and you'll do some work for me. I always need everything that you were talking about, all of the all of the commercials and all of the marketing stuff.
It really is fun that we've got all of the stuff that we can do now, and I really, life for me, life is going just extraordinarily well.
Oh, I love it. That's what happens when you open a new door, guys. So pick up a new hobby, make a new choice, do something different today that brings you joy.
That's the key. Find something that brings you joy, that you really enjoy doing. And this is what I do. I just love doing this. I'm doing this all day, every day. And it just makes my heart sing.
I love that.
So Kerry Fisher has been our guest. Thank you for being here. And I've got just less than a minute. So Benny, are you still there?
Yes, I am, Kevin.
Oh, he woke up. Never mind.
Come on. I'm always
Sets
awake.
his alarm.
Yeah, right. Took a nap.
I just wanted to, and from the bottom of my heart, Benny, now we're moving to 3:00 on Monday afternoons.
Yep.
But I wanted to say thank you very much. You've been nothing less than a superb professional handling my show for the last year, and I thank you very much.
That's not what he said when you weren't on, Benny.
Right. I appreciate it, Kevin. Always here for you, sir.
Indeed. And there's a possibility that I may come back. Who knows?
Yeah.
What'll happen, but I just appreciate you, and I wanted to share that with you and our listeners, that you are top notch. You are terrific.
Why, thank you.
And by the way, everybody, do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for somebody else. Be kind, because each other's all we got. So we'll see you Wednesday at 4:00 on Positive Talk Radio.